nigga high as a motherfucker, by the way. Let me go fast forward. I am the nigga, Young Dog. This high ass nigga.
They don't dance no more. It's all about the lean. Back in the day, crack was jumping on the scene. Now they slumped on the sidewalk. Can't talk. Golden era faded, but we still feel the rock. They used to be kings, now they lost in a scheme. Popping them bottles, throwing money, and living dreams. Now they zone out and mumbling, fumbling. No rhythm in the city, the whole shit crumbling. They used to rock the house, they was riding through the streets. Remember there was dancing, sliding to the beat. Now it's poison in their veins, ain't no pulse on the street. Guess it's over now, they accepted the back in the day, the rock had them wild and free. Different story now, they got no energy. The new drugs got them slow with the hit unload. Out close and they don't dance no more. Rock used to be jumping, tight shit they was on. Now it's lights out, guess the thrill is gone.
I am the nigga, Young Dog. I bring it to you rough, rugged, and raw, nigga.
They don't dance no more, it's all about the codeine. Back in the day, they was rocking on the scene. Even dancing in the rain, now they nodding off. Shit just don't hit the same.
I am that nigga, Young Dog. Man, you know, I could do this stream probably in my sleep. I probably could do this once a week. Probably 30 minutes once a day. Like, what's it like running to blacks? People send me so many messages and experiences that they've had. The landlord asked me questions, things like that. But I think nothing really sums it up better than this video. Someone sent it to me. I won't even say who sent it to me. But when I saw it, I said, oh, shit, man. You know, this kind of is one video that sums up so many of the things that I've shown you over the last year or so streaming here. And so we're going to get right into this video. We won't be here very long unless the audience dictates here. But let's get right into this. This is a text sent to me by I won't say who. I didn't even know it was in DC until he said something here. And then I said, oh shit, that's DC. So it makes all the sense in the world here. And as is a 5-minute video, as it plays, I'll probably sprinkle in some of the things I've seen over the years. Here we go.
Baby, I used to come home to dog piss in the elevators. I had people walking down the hall showing their ass, recording content. Baby, it was a mess. Then this girl right here, she let her dog shit right in front of my door and then mug on my camera. Now she mad at the dog and left the shit right there. Look at that. Then you had kids fighting all fucking day and all night.
I mean, we probably need to take this shit point by point here. If you've been on this stream for any amount of time, one of the things you will notice is that with the blacks, you find yourself running to the blacks. One thing's for sure. One thing is for sure. You're going to deal with some shit. You're going to deal with some shit. And if you look at some of the streams here, it's just 3 of the streams I've done. Shit on the sheets in the wall, shit on the sheets in the wall. I mean, you're going to deal with the byproducts of whatever they eat. They're going to put it on the walls. They're going to put it on the floors. If they have animals, the animals are going to do just the same. They act just like the animals. The domesticated animals and the humans, they behave just alike. And you're seeing some of this in the video here.
He thought my door was his door.
That's because you was acting like you about to pass out. My eyes was burning. I don't need no fucking water on you.
Then this little boy right here, he knocked on my door every day. He thought my door was his door. Every day. Then I came home, my whole entire closet came the fuck down. Y'all see this shit?
Well, you can see there's like cheap metal racks probably put up very cheaply there. Man, let me. I'm gonna go all off topic before I finish playing this video. My buddy Philippe sent me something. Let me see if I have it on Twitter here. If not, I'll put it on Twitter. And again, you know, you see this guy, and his closets have fallen down. And here, and I was talking about this on B Brave's channel the other day. Here's a video, a picture, rather, I should say, of a vanity, the toilet paper holder being installed by an immigrant. And this is in my buddy Philippe's house here. I'm going to put this on Twitter, and I'll show that to you. And it'll probably give you an idea why his closet fell down. And it should be there right now. And so here's probably why his closet fell down, or something along these lines here. This is on the other side of this wall partition here is a toilet paper holder, and the toilet paper holder came with long screws, and the Hispanic handyman, he just drilled the screws through the vanity, hung the toilet paper holder up there, but clearly, as you can see, that's not going to be very sturdy. And when the black start leaning and rocking on the toilet paper holder, it's going to come right out of the wall here. So sloppy construction, because you have to have sloppy construction to deal with blacks. You couldn't have high-end construction people building for them. So I keep trying to tell people, the cars in these cities, they're a money pit. I wouldn't be surprised if the damn tow truck man towed his car on purpose. He just may say, "Hell, well, I ain't see your parking pass and towed it. You're gonna pay me for it." It's like a criminal organization with these tow truck companies in these apartment buildings. Just the other day, I covered a shooting, and I'm going to show that on the stream again, just to kind of give you an idea of the kind of the tenor of dealing with blacks here. And so this is right at the mouth of Benning Road yesterday. This is the mouth of Benning Road here, where he's showing. Yesterday, I showed a video where there was 140 shots let off, and cars destroyed, windows blown out of cars, bullet holes in cars. And we'll get to that video in a second. But again, and it plays into renting to blacks. They create hell for everyone here. And so this guy here, he's got to move. His car has been towed. The blacks are shooting content in the hallway, assed out, letting their dog shit in the house, in the apartment building, which is not unusual. Just yesterday, I had a prospective tenant, I think it was yesterday. He called in, he said, "Man, it smells like feces in here." I said, "What? Feces?" I thought it was like fish. But one of these niggas had feces in there. I called him. So I called around to the tenants, and then one of the tenants said, I'm going to give you the message here. And I'm like, "Nigga, what? Like, who gave you the right to babysit a dog? You didn't ask me to keep a dog. You can't even pay your fucking rent. What the hell are you taking on a dog for?" But this is blacks. This is what the blacks do here. Let me see if I can show it to you. And let me see if I can show you. Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, here it is right here. And so I'm going to put this on Twitter as well. I'll put this right here on Twitter just so we can easily see it here. And again, this is it's just a day in the life. Blacks and dogs. Blacks and dogs. And I'll put that on Twitter here. And you'll be able to see this on Twitter. Let's see, right? It should be there now. And we scroll up one, and we'll see blacks and dogs. Blacks and dogs. I said, the tenant, Catholic University prospective tenant, called the other day. I think I was on B Brave stream. And so I passed the call in and let B Brave hear, nice, upstanding white guy. And I think he reached out to me from Facebook. And he said, "Man, it's a dog shit. It's like a shit smell in the house." I'm like, surely these niggas ain't shit in their room. So it must be some kind of fucking dog or some kind of animal in there somewhere. And so I write the tenant the message. I said, "Do you have a pet down there?" And he said, "I was dog sitting, went to the store. It said pets were allowed. It said pets were allowed. But nigga, you got to ask first." That's the way it works. Nigga, you got to ask first. You just can't roll up with no motherfucking dog. And he went to the store, and somewhere these blacks, either it's the dog or themselves, have created a feces smell in my fucking house. Now I got to deal with the feces smell. And again, if you want to know about dealing with blacks, I mean, it runs the gamut here. And so back to the video here. This is Northeast DC, not far from where my mother lives, not far from where there was a big shooting, mass shooting, I guess you could say, the other day.
It just wasn't safe no more. It didn't give luxury. It gave ghetto as hell. Still no.
And this is in the ghetto. This is again, it's northeast, far north, well, not far northeast, but northeast DC. It's kind of on the stretches of where the commercialization of 8th Street is ended, and now you have a lot of low-income housing, and what they've done is built some cheap luxury housing. That's probably where this young man lives, and they put low-income people in those buildings as well. They have kind of like requirements. It has to be 20% low income, and these probably are the people causing problems in the building.
Hood. And y'all hear that? Yes, my neighbors, they used to get it on all day and
all night. Yes, I've seen that myself before. Now, again, in a high-end building, this wouldn't be a problem. This is a cheap building, and these people are expected to kind of, I mean, the expectation is that you kind of have to temper your noise because these aren't double, triple insulated walls here.
All night, and you can hear through their door. Oh my God. Let him know, no.
And so, yeah, you're probably right. He probably didn't put it on the stud, but he could have reinforced it in other ways to keep it from falling down like this. But hell, it could have been all kind of vibration from the apartment next door that may have caused the closet to fall just the same. You never know with these people. Man, I'm telling you here the truth, guys. God is my witness. I came back in town one time. A tenant called me. This is when I used to own an apartment building. I went in the apartment building and showed it to you guys maybe 6 months ago. It was a little crack, a hairline crack in the ceiling. Instead of the tenant calling me, she called the fire department. What did the fire department do? The black fire department, they came and they just tore down the whole damn ceiling. That's a true story. And this is what it's like dealing with blacks. Like, the government is typically, they have them on speed dial for everything. If something goes wrong in the apartment, they don't call you, they call the government. And that's what you're seeing here.
The apartment is empty, y'all.
As you can see, this is a kind of a builder grade apartment, nothing high end, but they're probably charging high end prices in an apartment building here. You can just take a look at the fixtures.
We are finally out. Everything is clean, honey. I need my security deposit back, okay?
And you notice this black has a dog himself.
But yes, we are out. We are out. We are out. Child, I end up moving into a house. Thank God. So this is before I moved in. The apartment was so big, so clean.
And this is Union Heights Apartments. I got to look this up while this is playing.
So pretty. I was actually the first person to live in my apartment. These apartments was new. They at Union Heights, right across the street from Hector Mall, the Safeway. I was so excited. Me coming from Minnesota Avenue, Meadow Green.
Mm-hmm. The other night we did a live stream. This damn drunk ass black man, he just more or less destroyed the live stream. But he kept screaming out, Minnesota Avenue, Southeast. It's the other side of Southeast that I'm on. This is where this black guy moved from. So this is close to where he moved to here. He went from Southeast to Northeast.
This was like the best. I always lived in low income.
Look, they even put up a cheap barn. Nigga, I got a barn door in my house. Damn, they ain't put up barn doors in this motherfucker. Look.
They at Union Heights, right across the street from Hector Mall, the Safeway. I was so excited. Me coming from Minnesota.
Where is the barn?
The Avenue, Meadow Greens.
We got a balcony and everything. One of the things you'll see here, I don't think he ever put up any curtains. I'm pretty sure he didn't. And typically, blacks don't put up curtains. It's one of the things that was new to me. I had a poor white guy working for me. I told this story on B-Bray's stream, and he said, "Yo, man, if you're trying to appeal to upscale tenants, you got to put curtains and layer your curtains. You got to have shears and curtains and then the blinds." And I'm sure this black did not put up any curtains or shears or anything like that. He just rolled with the factory blinds that were left in the windows here.
This was like
look at the barn door. They put a barn
from Minnesota Avenue, Meadow Greens. This was like,
look, there's the barn door right there. God damn, this is nice.
the best. I always lived in low income, so
you heard that. He said it best. He always lived in low income, and this building it definitely had a component of low income. There is too far on the fringes of a good neighborhood to fill it up with, people with good jobs here.
For me to afford luxury, this was beyond. Like, I was so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the bathroom.
Now, to him, that's luxury. And that's the problem. It is a real big problem with the blacks because while it may look luxurious to them, these are very cheap builder-grade type products here. And they're going to be really rough on on all of these fixtures here. Man, listen, I just did a bathroom just recently. Can I show you that bathroom? I think I can show you the bathroom. Matter of fact, I know what I can show you from that bathroom. I can show you the dreadlock I pulled out of the drain. Where's that dreadlock? Where's that dreadlock I pulled out that fucking drain? This is in a newly renovated bathroom here. Newly renovated. And so what you're seeing here is that no matter how new this shit is, the pipes are still going to be the pipes. Still going to be what 1.5 inches, 2 inches, whatever the hell the pipe is for the tub here. And so the dreadlock still got to go down. And so now you're going to have to start, putting tools, a snake or something down the drain. And so doesn't matter how new it is, you can't get around that if they're going to be rough on the properties like that. Same thing with the toilets. I got a toilet right now. I got to reattach to the base. These damn blacks, they just sit down and rock on the toilets. They rock on them. So one of the things I like doing, you see this is a pretty high toilet, I like to have like very, very low sitting toilets here. Show you a low sitting toilet. Low sitting toilet here. And let's see if I show you a low sitting. All these kind of tips and tricks, low profile toilet. All these kind of tips and tricks you have to, when you're dealing with blacks, and if you don't know what you're doing here, you can really find yourself in some problems. And let's see if I can find a low toilet here. Here's an expensive toilet, but you don't have to buy an expensive toilet. But you see, it's kind of low to the ground, not a lot to rock on here. This is an expensive toilet. You're not going to buy anything. This is expensive for low-income housing, but there are a lot of low-profile toilets where they kind of you have to make them squat instead of rock, on the toilet, because they will rock that motherfucker loose. And again, you see the builder-grade cabinet here. These are things that, if there's a leak up on the sink, it's immediately going to get wet. This is not wood. It's going to rot. You have to replace it. And so, but again, back to the bathroom that I just showed you. One of the things that the blacks, many tenants, but definitely the blacks, this little thing that you pull up the spout to make the shower, it's basically to divert the water to the shower. You're supposed to let the water stop running and then close it. The blacks just smash it closed. So that just ultimately destroys that. And then they'll try to get the hair out of the sink themselves. So I had an all black fixtures, even the drain cap in your tub, was black. They tried their best to get the hair out of the toilet, and I don't know what the hell they did with the drain cap or the drain cap screw, so I had to replace it. Couldn't find a black one, so now I have a silver one with the rest of the black bathroom, the fixtures. So these things just kind of go awry there, so it's just dealing with blacks.
Bro, it was so big. I was so pressed. Baby, it was a mess. It was a mess.
What's interesting here, I'm noticing people are catching on here.
Press.
If you look at the trim in this house, in this apartment, the trim is darker than the walls. You see this here. That's typically what I do to keep, because blacks will they run their Air Jordans up against the baseboards and stuff like that, and it shows. And it looks very bad if you have white baseboards here, so you can tell that this low grade, this kind of low income housing builder here has put in place some kind of mechanisms to keep the place still looking clean by kind of inverting the paint, darker on the baseboards, lighter on the walls. Very interesting.
AB, it was a mess. It was a mess. Ghetto Fabulous at his best. Baby waking up every day to mice.
Mice in a brand new building. Mm-hmm. Now, you might wonder why he has mice in a brand new building. I did a street interview the other day in Union Square. You can take a look at that. It was a black couple. And I was advising them, they were living with their mother at the time, or the girl's mother. It was a black couple. They're living with the mother. And they said, we have 2 pit bulls. I said, and they're looking for an apartment. I said, sweetie, you're going to have to get rid of the pit bulls. You're black. The table's already against you. No landlord worth his salt is going to accept you with pit bulls. Partly because you can use those pit bulls as a weapon against the landlord. And the second thing is that if the blacks don't clean up behind their dogs, and I've had that problem before, right? It was with Hispanics. The Hispanics did not clean up after their newborn baby, and they would not discard the Pampers properly, and hence mice eat feces or the food that comes out in your feces, and it's like rat food for them, and healthy rat food, and so it would be attractive to them. This young man has a dog himself. He may be contributing to the mice problem just the same, but that is the problem when you rent to blacks with pets. I'm just going to keep breaking down the brass tacks here. You hear me talk about it all the time. The blacks are very desirous to live like white people. You have poor ass blacks living in the ghetto, walking poodles and shit like this. I got a black man that used to work for me. Hell, he used to rent for me. He went out and bought a $5,000 French bulldog. This nigga's poor. Hell, I'm poor. And he went out, he was renting for me, and he went and bought a $5,000 French bulldog. He doesn't even have a secure place to live. And yeah, he goes out and buys a bulldog. You think he's going to take very good care of it? I doubt it, right? He's not going to take the poop out. The dog may not be properly trained. At best, it may just scratch up the doors trying to get out because it needs to use the bathroom. At worst, it's going to use the bathroom in the house, right? Just recently, I had well, he wasn't black, but he wasn't white. His dog got into it with another person's dog, and this caused problems. Again, non-whites with dogs. It's just been my experience. You got a problem. Most non-whites don't want dogs, except for blacks, because blacks are trying to live like whites, but they can't maintain that same level of care for the dog. They can't take it to the vet. Listen, how many of you remember? I had a black guy. Let me see if I can find it. I had a black guy in this motherfucker in this fucking house right here. He had 2 young dogs. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can find the message here. Yeah, let's see. Is it? He had 2 dogs. He had 2 dogs that died in my house. Dog died. He had 1 dog to die. Sorry, and so the dog was just up in the room, dead. And he didn't know what to do with the dog. He didn't know how to dispose of it. He's just sleeping with a fucking dead dog, right? Like, they should not have dogs. That's just my opinion. Like, many of them, they're mimicking, copying what white people doing. They see dogs out. They see white people out with dogs. They want to have dogs themselves. Understandable. Maybe they're seeking, they're lonely or whatever. But many of them just don't have the resources to properly take care of a dog, take it to the vet, feed it properly. They don't have the time for a dead dog in the room. The nigga had 2 dogs. He had 2 dogs. I'm looking to see if I can find this message. Dead dog. I know I have it. But his dead dog died in his room, and he did not know what to do with it. Where is his dead dog? Dead dog. Where is the fucking dead dog? I know I got it. Where is this fucking dead dog? Dead dog message. I know I have it. I mean, I got so many messages about dogs and blacks. Unbelievable. I just put dog in my phone, and it's just dog after dog after dog. Problems with dogs. Problems with dogs. Problems with dogs. Check the backyard. Plenty of dog shit. They let the dog shit in the backyard. They let it shit in the front yard. And then where is that dog shitter? Where is the nigger that was standing up in there with that dog? Where is... I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I'll find it. Oh, I found it. Oh, I found it. Oh, I found it here. Oh, I don't even know where to start with this damn nigger and this dog. I don't even know where to start. Oh, oh, let me see if where should I start with this damn black and this dog? Oh yeah. Where should I start? The black and the fucking dog. Oh, I'm just gonna put some of this shit on Twitter. And it was just every day, this black and his dog. It was every day, black and dog. Black and a dog. And we take a look at Twitter here before I get back to this video. This is just one message. From one guy. I mean, there's so many I could have shown you. And here's one, black and dog. It's February 20, this is last year. I said, you need to walk your dog. I have a guest here disturbing others, dog whining, disturbing other people. You need to catch an Uber here. You need to get here before I have to leave. And so, he says, okay. And so he's at work. Oh, damn, I'm not showing it. He's at work and he has his dog yapping and whining and moaning, disturbing everyone else in the house. And he has 2 dogs. He said, what the fuck you got 1 dog for? You can't even take care of yourself. You're living in a room. And here he was intent on having 2 dogs. Young man in his early 20s. Didn't make any sense. And again, I see it all the time. And it's just one of the big problems dealing with blacks. They want to have dogs. They can't take care of them. This guy is showing you pretty much everything you'll see as a landlord when you get a bunch of blacks living together. Mm-hmm. Now, they're trying to go into it. Now, you must understand. I want you to rewind it back. These aren't men going in these apartments. These are sister gals. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the sister gals has a baby in her hand. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. That bitch got a baby and pointing at the door. Man, just over this weekend, just this weekend alone, my buddy Philippe had his car broken into. I showed you my buddy, damn, I wasn't even sharing the video. Jesus Christ, I wasn't even sharing the video. I'm bouncing back and forth between these videos. And I was telling you, my buddy Philippe, he had his car broken into over the weekend in front of his house, 11 o'clock in the morning. Then my tenant, Omar, he sent me a video, and here is the video. And I did a live stream here. You probably recognize this place here. And if you can see right there in the upper top of the screen there, this is Omar's bike here. It's about a $1,500 bike here. He's at work. Black guy just walks up and just want to take it for his. And you can see, if you guys that have been following the stream for a while, you remember we did a live stream right here, maybe 2. I think Roscoe and I did one here. And so, what's interesting again here, and I'm going to share another a message that he sent me. This is from Omar here. And so he had to track this himself. And so I said to him, I said, what about the police? He said, and his words, not mine. He said, the black officer was like, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I'm not looking for no damn bike. And he had to call 2 white officers, that's his words, not mine, to get him to assist him in finding his bike there. And so here's the GPS map of his bike. And, surprisingly enough, what you're seeing on the screen here is, I think this is 9th and H Street Northeast. The place where the apartment building down we were just reviewing here, it's about 6 blocks away, straight line away here. And here is Omar's video that he sent me. He sent me the video here. And here's a video of his bike just moving around. That's his bike just moving around there. And you can see just moving around. And he had to track it himself. Could have been very dangerous for him, approaching a black about a stolen bike, even though it was his bike there. And so there's again, they steal. You have to lock everything up. And they steal from each other. As you can see, they're about to enter this man's apartment. And I'm going to show that to you here.
Look at the bathroom. It was so big. I was so pressed. Baby, it was a mess. It was a mess. Ghetto Fabulous at its best. Baby, waking up every day to mice. Y'all see that? Oh, my God. And these buildings was new. Then the girl right here with the red dreads, she tried my doorknob. Look at Miss Gangster. Baby, if you would have came in with me your last day, I don't know.
That's a lot of sisters walking down the hallway. Jesus Christ. They don't look like they could afford any rent in a brand new building here in DC. And brand new buildings here in DC typically are built for people with money. And so what they do to help the poor blacks is they set aside, they tell the developer, hey, man, we'll let you build 25 apartment buildings. But if you want to build 30, you got to set aside, 3 of those to black people, to poor people, basically. And so that's how the scheme goes to get variances around parking requirements and stuff like that. So in other words, they may have a requirement. You must build 1 apartment, 1 parking spot per every 1.5 units, right? And so he said, well, that's expensive because I got to build them underground. And he said, well, I'll just provide some affordable housing instead. And so the city will say, okay, if you provide some affordable housing, we'll lower the ratio from 1.5 parking spots to half of a parking spot per unit or something like that, whatever the number may be, to lower the cost for the developer. And downstream from that, you move into the building and 6 months later, you realize there's a bunch of ghetto dwellers in your building and they're letting people shit in your hallways. They're watching you, trying to see if they can break into your apartment, things like that.
Why everybody used to fuck with my door, but this the lady showing the people the apartment and they want to fuck with my door. Why? It was always trash in the back stairwell. Baby, they would have pool parties.
Nigga, how much trash I done showed y'all? Listen, I came back here from New York. God is my witness. I should have taken pictures of this shit. The niggas, I'm sorry. The blacks could have taken the trash to the trash can. You know what they did? They just put it on the back porch. Food, byproducts of food. They put it outside at the back door. Okay, now what's going to happen with that? It would be mice. And this black guy here said, well, it's a brand new building. Well, it doesn't matter. If you're leaving a fucking food trail for mice, it could be a brand new building. The mice can't tell, don't know heads or tails from a new building versus an old one. They just want food. Right? And they go where the food is. And they're putting food in the hallway steps, bro. The mice are going to come where the food is. If you leave it out, they will come.
Why? It was always trash in the back stairwell. Baby, they would have pool parties, and mind you, my balcony faced the pool. I could not even sleep. This was around 12 o'clock midnight. Listen, Family arguing, getting drunk. I'm out the fight.
And I bet you it won one black swimmer. Malcolm Jamal Warner's out there, motherfucker. They just got their feet in the pool.
Just listen. They don't even live here.
And there's the next thing. Invite one, invite them all. You find yourself in an affordable housing scheme. Yeah, they may only have 5 allocated for poor people, but those people have friends and family too. And they're going to take advantage of those amenities in ways that you may not even have to. You're working every day. You don't have time to go swimming, have a pool party at midnight, but they do.
This was every night, nonstop. Dog piss stayed on.
Nigga, that's the least of your word, dog piss. Where you think them rats coming from? What you think the source for them rats? That's dog food. That's dog shit. That's what rats eat. They eat shit. And that's why you got mice, young man. You probably don't know this, but that's why you got mice.
The elevator. Y'all, I can't make this shit up. Every night it was something. Listen. It was always somebody arguing by my window.
Oh, that's a good one. It was always somebody arguing by his window. These are sounds of the ghetto, nigga. You bring the ghetto people and then you put them in the building. What they supposed to act differently? And you magic dirt?
Every night. And the windows were so thin.
What kind of windows did you expect in that little bit of edge rent you were paying? Man, I had a guy, I mentioned him earlier, man. Listen, windows can be as expensive as you want them to be. You don't want to hear the Negroes outside? Pay up for the windows. Pay up. You can get some windows, bro, where it be absolute silent. You won't hear anything. But you can't afford that. So you got to deal with the sounds of the ghetto, bro. Like, you can't get everything you want. This is what I'm saying. Like, home ownership, we're encouraging everyone to be a homeowner. But this guy doesn't know that there are levels to the windows game. Right? If he were in Georgetown, in a building in Georgetown, they would not build it to these low standards. But to get him out of the ghetto, they had to build low standard housing in halfway semi-nice areas on the fringe of nice areas. And this is how, when you are in these inner cities, you see these blacks walking around in decent looking neighborhoods. This is the rental scheme that they use to get them there.
You can hear everything.
Yeah.
And then I came home and my closet came down. I said, you know what? The Lord is trying to tell me something. He's saying, take your shit and get the fuck up out of here. And that's what the fuck I did. I left. I even left the clothes in that motherfucker. I didn't want nothing. And then I called my fiance. I said, pack your shit. We moving into a new house. And that's our new house right there. He packed his shit and I left my shit. So I had to go.
So they left their shit behind for another landlord to have to pick up. You seen me have to pick up all this shit. Like, how much shit you seen me pick up? Like, man, look at all this shit. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Niggas just leave shit behind. They don't give a fuck who got to pick it up. They don't give a fuck. And he just said it. If you don't believe me, like, this is the mindset. Like, a lot of their things, honestly, is throwaway. Look at all this cheap shit. Look at all this cheap shit.
And then I came home.
This cheap shit. All this shit together. He paid thousands of dollars for it, but it ain't worth shit.
And my
cheap ass Chinese made clothes.
Closet came down. I said, you know what? The Lord is trying to tell me something. He's saying, take your shit and get the fuck up out of here. And that's what the fuck I did. I left. I even left the clothes in that motherfucker. I didn't want nothing. And then I called my fiance. I said, pack your shit.
This nigga's gay, of course.
We moving into a new house, and that's our new house right there. He packed his shit, and I left my shit. So I had to go.
it's very interesting how these people affording. Like, how did he afford to move like that? I'm assuming maybe he has a good job or whatever. I'm not quite sure. But he looked like he's paying $2,800 a month there. And I think what you're saying is the real estate scheme being unpacked here. I talked to you along those same real estate lines. I talked to you about my buddy Philippe. I was talking about it on Be Brave stream. Philippe is having some troubles dealing with localized blacks. He doesn't understand it. And it's some of the things that he just does not understand it. And I'm going to give you a real world example of what he doesn't understand. So in the Section 8 process, you have to, to find the Section 8 tenant, you go down the road, you say, okay, here's my tenant, and I'm locked in with this person. And so in about 30 days, you'll have lease up and that person will move in. You're locked in at that point. You can't change your mind and say, I'll take you. Because you've submitted her paperwork and stuff like that. You submitted your certificate of a deed or whatever it is. So you're not going to go get another one to submit it for another person. So it came down to the date for the lady to move in, which is today. And over the weekend, he was talking to her about some of the rules that he has in the house. He says, I don't want any smoking. She says, well, I'm addicted to vape. I'm addicted to vaping. And so now her rent is only $100. Of the $2,500 total that Philippe would receive, her rent is only $100. And she turned it down for $100 because she can't vape. She could have gone outside to vape. Now, if it had been me, if I'd have been Philippe, I wouldn't even press the issue with her. When she said I was addicted to vaping, fuck it, go ahead and smoke, lady. Hopefully you'll be here 10 years. I got to redo the house anyway in 10 years. So just go ahead and smoke. Who cares? It's not an enforceable violation anyway. You can't put her out if she vapes. She's going to have company over. They're going to smoke in the wintertime. They're not going to be going outside to smoke. So he basically cost himself another couple of months and another inspection. Now, they're going to re-inspect his house as if they've never inspected it before. He's already passed inspection, but now they're going to re-inspect it again. And so these are the things that, as a kind of a novice landlord, he's been a Section 8 landlord 10, 12 years, but he's only had one tenant. I've had many, many tenants in Section 8, and, I've had many black tenants. And again, like, you can't worry about them smoking. Unless they're in an apartment building. Then, the apartment building will enforce the rules upon you, so you'll be forced to enforce it upon them. But if you have a house and you're renting it to Section 8, there's just no way that you can enforce smoking. You just have to let it go. If she says she's addicted to it and you feel like she's a decent enough tenant to rent to, then just rent to her. And in 10 years, you'll get your place back and you're going to have to redo it anyway. Due to the damage, she's going to tear it up. But here's the other problem that he faced. And, I told him, I said, maybe you've dodged a bullet here. In that she was 30 years old renting a 2-bedroom house with 2 children, same sex. The laws say that they must have separate bedrooms at a certain age. So she was going to age out of the house probably quicker than normally she would have anyway. So those are some of the kind of the intricacies and just the in-depth knowledge of Section 8 and dealing with like low-class tenants that, he's learning by way of doing. He could have asked me, I could have given him some insight here, but yeah. There's that. So anyway, this is one of the streams I wanted to cover here, guys. I thought it was very interesting. I figured I'd do a live on that. If anyone has any questions, you have any comments on that, I'll see if I can answer the questions. I think I covered a few things here, my buddy Philippe. Oh, the one thing that I did want to cover was this right here. There's a couple of things. I covered it over the weekend. And here is what it here it is right here. I saw Nidish in the audience here, and so here's something that I wanted to share with you, Nidish, and anyone else that has real estate property. You've heard me talk about this for quite a while here in terms of how you have to price your properties to avoid people using you as the creditor of last resort here. And I want you to listen to this. And again, this is very close to the video, in very close proximity to the video that I just showed. And this lady here is having some issues, and I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to put this on the screen. So this lady is having some issues. Let me just play it here. landlords that they should start charging weekly, daily, bi-weekly, and if appropriate, bi-monthly rentals as opposed to monthly rentals, because the creditor on the lender and so forth. And so one of the reasons I wanted here,
which put a hole in the seatbelt through the dashboard on both sides, and then went through the back seat.
Had you been sitting in that front seat, you would have been.
I would have got hit. I would have got hit, and it would have killed me, but it took me out. Instead of me trying to pay rent, I'm gonna have to pay to get my car fixed.
did you niggas hear that? Did you hear that? Listen again.
Instead of me trying to pay rent, I'm gonna have to pay to get my. Instead of me trying to pay rent, I'm gonna have to pay to get my car fixed.
Yeah, you heard it. I know you heard it, right? You heard it. Instead of me having to pay rent, I'm gonna have to get my car fixed. Now, she lives right on the bus line. Bus take you straight to the train. But she's accustomed to riding around in her car. It's not the only mode of transportation, but that's the mode that she's gotten comfortable taking. And now that some YNs done shot up her car, she says, my landlord gonna have to wait so I can get my car fixed. Because see, today is the 28th. This happened maybe on the 25th. And so she knows that her rent is due in about 10 days. She gets about 5 days grace. So she's going to deal with her most immediate issue, her car being fixed. And that's what she says.
Instead of me trying to pay rent, I'm gonna have to pay to get my car fixed.
And you heard that there. Instead of her paying rent, she's going to pay to get her car fixed. So her rent today is the 27th of the month. So she's going to spend some money now to get her car fixed to go to work, as opposed, and she'll tell her landlord in 4 days from now, hey, I had to get my car fixed. There was a shooting outside. No. The alternative is she could catch the bus and go to work. I'm sure in DC, particularly where the shooting is, there are plenty of buses that would get her pretty much all around. And the point I'm making here is, if her rent was more frequent, instead of once a month, every 30 days, which she probably pays, she paying rent every week, she'd have to make a more serious choice. She'd have to really decide, am I going to pay my rent this week? Or am I going to pay for this car and not have the rent? And then what happens? Then she got some serious decisions to make. But right now, she doesn't have any decisions to make because she knows that the landlord is her creditor of first resort here. She's not worried about the rent. She worried about her car. But if her rent was due Friday or a couple of days after her car was shot up, she'd have to pay that rent, right? She'd have to pay that rent. Or, you know what I do to him? I make him go day by day. Oh, you can't afford a week because your car was shot up? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. We do have day by day options. It's going to be a little bit more expensive till you get back on your feet to the week by week. But you can go day by day. Sorry you don't have all your rent. Go day by day. You've heard me do this on the stream here. And that is my suggestion to you people that are interested in getting into real estate and renting properties. You're going to have to price your properties or time your rental payments more closely to their payment for labor, their work. So when they get paid, that's when you want to get paid. Some of these people get paid every day, and they're floating their rent with you or having you float an obligation to them for 30 days, and then some bullshit like this happens at the end of the month, and they can't pay their rent. So that's my suggestion to you. John, did they change the Section 8 to 2 years? No, I doubt they changed it to 2 years. I think it's, jurisdiction by jurisdiction. Every city or county manages the funding from HUD, and so HUD gives them like block grants for Section 8, and then the city will administer those. The city will administer those funds. What you'll find interesting here in DC, and it's been in there for a long time, in that there's like limits on Section 8. I think there's always been limits from the Clinton welfare era. But DC uniquely say that if you are over your limit, we'll just cover it out of our own taxpayer coffers here. So they can't use federal tax dollars for people that are ineligible for welfare, for Section 8, stuff like that, food stamps. So they just cover it out of their own coffers there. So that's kind of how that works here in DC. What's up, Big Time? What's going on? Antoine, I ain't seen you around in a while. What's good, man? And well, most of these people are going to be living check to check, typically. In my opinion, these are just rent schemes. As you can see, these places are very poorly built. To the poor people who never experienced living like this, as you heard the man say, this is luxury to him. To the builder, and even to my eye, very cheap. The flooring was cheap. The bathtub was, it's probably the lowest price one they can find. The sinks, all that, none of that stuff was high grade, luxury grade fixtures. But for people coming out of the ghetto, where this young man said he was coming from, then it's totally luxury to him. And they brought in the ghetto people as well, and totally destroyed it. So you can build luxury housing, but if you let the poor class people in, and it only takes a handful, then they're going to cause problems for everyone there. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. If you don't have any more questions, person who can't pay their rent usually has no. Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm going to go back on these dogs again. As you can see that in that building that the young man was complaining about, there were several dogs in the building, and there were young children. Typically, these type of buildings aren't really built for families, people with young children. I don't know if those people live there, if the children live there or not. But typically, the demographic of people living in that building don't have friends, or they don't have children themselves. And so children introduce another dynamic to a building with young people, fairly young people, or single people living in these 1-2 bedroom apartments. And that's the other thing. One of the ways that the developers get around housing these poor people, and we can look at it here, because I think I pulled up the apartment building here. This is the Union Heights apartment. This is the apartment building that the young man was complaining about. It's Maryland Avenue Southeast. So this is not far from the Capitol here. And you'll see, this is the building here. We can see some photos. And we'll see some photos here of the outside of the building. And you see there's a pool. And, decent starter places. You can tell it's not, no upgrade luxury fixtures here, but nice enough for starter young couples, stuff like that. Little rooftop golf course, basketball court, and you can see these are the type of things that the amenities that they provided to these people, and we'll see what the reviews are. Wow, 3.4 reviews for a brand new building in DC. Lived at Union Heights for a year now, enjoying my time, and let's see what the lowest ratings are. If pricing the only thing you care about, then maybe you consider living there. If you have any hopes of living in a building that feels safe or has quality amenities, then avoid this place at all costs. The parking garage door is never fixed, allowing cars to be broken into. So there is, again, one of the things you'll see there is that parking is very expensive in the city. And the blacks, I've talked about this quite a bit, will find themselves wanting cars. You heard the black lady say that, she had to get her car fixed, but clearly she was, a poor person. And the city looks at cars as like a revenue source, tickets, towing, red light cameras, stuff like that. And so oftentimes what you'll find is that blacks who can't afford to pay for parking will break into the parking garage and park their cars there. And you'll also see that the elevator has been out of service for 4 months. Well, you have people that are pissing in the elevators. Look, I'll tell you this. In my mother's building, my mother lives in a senior citizen building. And they have to tell the people, don't use foreign objects to press the buttons. I guess the old people are using their canes, whatever, sticks or whatever to press the floor buttons on the elevator, and I guess they're breaking the buttons. So they tell them, hey, don't use your finger. Don't use your cane or your walker, the leg of your walker. Use your cane. You use your hand instead. And so this is probably leading to broken elevators out of service for 4 months. And again, you probably have a lot of people that aren't paying their rent in this building as well. And in that instance, then you're going to have repairs just not taking place. I mean, the landlords only has so much money here. And so this is the issue here. Elevator out of service, building constantly has smells of trash, cigarettes, and animal waste. I told you guys. I told you. Like, the blacks want dogs. They do. They want to live like white people. They want fancy dogs. They want to walk them down the street with dogs. But the responsibility of cleaning up behind that dog, caring for their dog, is almost like a child. It's a responsibility that you never outgrow. Right? The child will grow up, but the dog is always going to need to be cleaned up after. And in a building, when you allow blacks with pets, and you know, I hate to say it, but these are the problems you're going to have. Always. Always. I've only lived here for 7 months, and oh Lord, it's been the worst experience. My unit is absolutely awful. Whoever did the turnover job needs to be fired. They painted over dirt and grime. The sliding door is broken and it has holes. And, you know, again, I talk a lot about here about, what's up, Aaron? I talk a lot about here about like landlording on the lower end. And one of the things that, you know, that I've had problems with, man, it has been a sliding door. I used to have a property with a sliding door. The blacks would knock that sliding door off track. And it's just inexplicable. Sliding doors for like entry, exit doors, and shower doors. I have a shower door in my place. Never been broken, but the blacks will destroy anything moving parts. You know, you should have it fixed. And these people provided sliding shower, or balcony doors, and the previous tenant broke them. The floors are messed up with streak marks that can't be removed. Again, that typifies that these are not wood floors. These are probably some kind of laminate LVP. It would take a lot of work to get scuff marks from Air Jordans off of the floors there. And so that's what some of the complaints. The dishwasher and shower covered in rust. Again, you know, these people are probably doing their hair or cutting their hair, something like that. The metal from the clippers or from the hot comb or something like that will rust on the tub. I've seen that before. It's happened to me. Man, you'll see. There are holes in the sliding door that cause my apartment to flood every time it rains. Every time I bring these issues up to the leasing office, submitted a maintenance request, it gets closed out. Wow, these are some low reviews. Looks like the property manager is Devin. I was genuinely interested in renting this property. My application was denied due to credit without being denied the standard option of adding a guarantor, which is common in practice. Application denied, blah, 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 blah. Someone says they literally have PTSD from the rodent infestation. They would come out even during the day. I was watching 2 or 3 a week on the traps. It got to a point where I wasn't sleeping because I was afraid they would crawl into my bed at night. Wow. You know, I'm tempted to call these people and ask them, have they resolved the rodent situation? I am tempted to call them. Let me see what they say here. Have you resolved the rodent situation? I am tempted to call them.
Hello. Thank you for calling our apartment home community.
Para continuar en español, oprime el 8.
Our staff is busy helping other customers right now. For information about our homes, press 1. If you are a resident and have a maintenance issue, press 3. For all other calls, press 4.
Oh, they're not answering the phone. Anyway, interesting is a brand new building with very low reviews here in the ghetto, and it doesn't seem to be it seems to be more due to the tenants. This apartment is terrible. Maintenance requests, pests, mice. Again, I guarantee you. Safety is a big issue. Is that this apartment is located next to the Pinnacles. I don't even look forward to going home to my apartment anymore. The place that I rest my head at night. And here are pictures. Wow, it's a fucking mouse right there. Jeez, Louise. Wow. Wow. There's two of them right there. Anyway, guys, it's very interesting. Dog feces, brand new buildings, and we see what's going on there. What's up, Garen? I haven't seen you. I think I saw you on Bob's channel a while back. Have you been streaming lately? Haven't seen you in a while. Broke James, what's going on, man? Bro, let me tell you. Like, I've had some white tenants that don't clean up after their dog as well. Now I'm not talking teen crime today. Talking landlording. Universal sent me a video, and it was about a brand new building built here right off of Benning Road here in Washington, D.C. I didn't even know it was D.C. Until the guy mentioned the Hechinger Mall. You probably know what that is, Ryan. And he was talking about how the feces and just the people living there. And what he probably didn't understand is that the city has all these kind of housing schemes to get poor people off of the street. As you can imagine, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but Trump is turning up the heat on Muriel Bowser here in D.C. Trump homeless D.C., and he's saying that she needs to get the homeless off of the street. So what you're seeing is that Trump is probably, Muriel Bowser is probably taking a lot of these homeless people and putting them in apartments here. And you can take a look here. You can take a look here.
It's all homeless people sleeping right outside the gates of the White House. Are you concerned about that? I think it's terrible, and we'll have them removed immediately. We do remove it. We've got to get the mayor to run this city properly. This city has to be run. I have the right to take it over, and I think it's terrible. Where are they? Where did you see them? It's right outside on Pennsylvania Avenue. Near the Treasury. Right across the Treasury.
And as Trump, they're speaking on the housing situation, the homeless situation in D.C. And so what you're seeing downstream is that Muriel Bowser is likely stuffing these people into high-end apartment buildings to kind of hide the homeless issue there. Let's see. Cincinnati. Oh, man. Cincinnati. I've been reading about Cincinnati. That's going to be interesting. I think I put out a video about the mayor of Cincinnati. He hasn't even spoken about the riot downtown Cincinnati. He's been radio silent on that, although he did have something to say about the music event. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but the mayor of Cincinnati is Indian. Did anyone know that? Anyone know that the mayor of Cincinnati is Indian? And he did a big welcoming for the Black Music Festival there in Chicago. I'm sorry, Cincinnati. And let me show this since I'm on this thing here this morning. Let me show this to you. All right, here it is. And I'm going to couch this in a story that I had that I can tell you about a former tenant of mine. And here is this. Take a look.
All these niggas, they be.
And if you're watching on your phone driving, what you're seeing here is a woman entertaining quite a few men. And this is a guy filming from his apartment across the hallway. And you see the men just coming.
That nigga tried to make.
Man up number 2. Man number 3. Man number 4. I think this number 4. Now we up to number 4. Another guy there. She seems to really like him. And here comes another guy. And you just look at that amount of traffic coming in and out of the front door of an apartment building there. You know, just the amount of just activity up and down, in and out of the apartment building door there. I wanted to find the mayor of Cincinnati. He did a good job of welcoming the Cincinnati Festival. Let me see if I can find that. And I think I have it here. So people are asking, why hasn't he held a press conference demanding to know why the police were MIA and did not even know about the violence until video started to appear on social media? And here is his social media stream, and here's him welcoming the Cincinnati Black Music Festival here.
Incredible celebrations going. Hey Cincinnati, it's Mayor Aftab, and this weekend is Music Fest. There's so many incredible celebrations going on, but I really wanted to lift up the Black Music Walk of Fame. Congratulations to all of the inductees. There are people from around the country here to celebrate the incredible impact that Black musicians have made, not just on our region, but internationally. Congratulations to Hamilton County Commissioner Alicia Reese for continuing this leadership in this program. Hey Cincinnati, it's Mayor Aftab, and this weekend is Music Fest. There's so many incredible celebrations.
And you'd be surprised to know that, you know, and I did a stream on this. Music Fest has been going on since 1965 or something, like 1962. And it started out as a jazz festival. It was the Ohio Jazz Festival. And now it is devolved into more or less a hip hop festival. I think LL Cool J and Tony Braxton were the headliners there. And surprisingly enough, similar to the New Orleans situation, there's a white guy, a white company, Santangelo organization, that is responsible for putting on the event there. Someone spoke about DC driving up the cost, and I'm going to tie this into landlording if I can here.
Wage increases.
So I have 3 Black tenants that work in the restaurant industry. 3 of them. That's a pretty high number of Blacks working in restaurant. And I showed you the one Black. You can find it on the stream here. That dyed his hair red in my property here. Let's see. Red hair Black. Red hair Black. Dyed hair. And so I showed you that guy. Well, I showed you that guy, the guy that dyed his hair black. And I told you about the restaurant that he works in. It's a pretty high energy F1 restaurant, something like that. They have games and stuff like that. So I was talking to him the other day, and he says, yo, I'm having trouble at work with the Hispanics. I said, you're not surprising to me. And then he, a week or 2 later, he was showing on the rent. Not surprising to me. Because as I've told people, other landlords, it's very difficult for Blacks to make hay in the restaurant industry. I've never had one to last very long. Not one here in DC, I will say that. And so then I have 2 others, and they have converted from bi-weekly to weekly. Their hours were being cut, something like that. And here is part of what's going on. And the other part, I think, is the Hispanic African effect on the labor force. Is crowding out the Blacks. We did a live stream of an African Ghanaian, I think, and he worked at a high-end restaurant on 14th Street. Again, we've interviewed Blacks, Africans that worked in grocery stores, and kind of the same thing. The Africans said that Blacks do not want to work hard in restaurant and construction are some of the hardest work that you're going to find here. So take a listen.
These are just some of the reasons that a lot of restaurants in the district are struggling right now. And now a dire warning.
Yeah, the Restaurant Association Metropolitan Washington says more than 2 in 5 DC restaurants could close this year. 7 News' John Gonzalez is live for us in Georgetown. And John, restaurants are under a combination of pressures right now.
That's absolutely right. And we can tell you that, the Restaurant Association here surveyed more than 200 restaurants between January and February.
Hey, what's up, Philippe, man? I'm live on stream. What's going on?
Hey, hello.
Yeah, I'm live on stream. Philippe, did that tenant get back to you? Did she take the apartment or no?
No, I canceled that.
But did she ever get back to you to cancel or say, hey, I still want it, Mr. Philippe? It's only $100. She never called you back.
She didn't, but she never called me back. But I sent her a message yesterday, saying I wanted to cancel it.
Did you find that?
Before that, she hasn't gotten back.
Did you find her entitlement that like she's, at the whim of the government to provide her housing, and it came down to can I smoke inside the house for $100?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I ended up not wanting her to be in the house, because I don't. Someone who doesn't, her priority is smoking. I don't trust that she would be able to refrain from doing it, because she's addicted to. So
she addicted to vaping. That shit ain't been out for about 20 years. That nigga caught the addiction. She got the addiction wagon early, huh? She's an early adopter of the vape addiction.
Yeah.
Man, I was just showing the stream of what it's like renting to blacks in an apartment building where they have to, share a hallway and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you own a building with some low-income blacks. You own an apartment in a building with low-income blacks. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was explaining to my audience, one of the big issues that you have with blacks in common spaces, and people are like, what? Is the front door. Is that right?
Is the what?
The front door. Am I correct?
I'm not sure what you mean front door.
Well, what was the problem that you were having with your front door at your building?
I don't remember having a problem with my front door.
Weren't they propping the front doors open for other people to come in?
Oh, yeah, that would happen sometimes. Yeah,
that would happen sometimes. And so when you read about buildings and the blacks are complaining about the doors are always broken, it ain't safe. Well, they broke the doors. The landlord, did you ever break a door in your building?
The door never broke. No, the door. Sometimes people would leave it propped open, like you said,
they would
let people come in, and that would let people come in, and they might steal people's packages that were left, stuff like that. That was the issue there. When that would happen sometimes.
Why didn't they just buzz them in as opposed to just propping the door open for them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I can explain it to you. How does your system work? When you go to your keypad and you hit the numbers for your code, what does it ring your phone?
Yeah, it rings phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Ring your cell phone.
What if your phone? What if you lost your phone? How would you ring someone in if you lost your phone?
Well, you can't.
Okay, so now what would you have to do if you lost your phone, as blacks are prone to do, and you're in between Obama phones and you got company coming over, how do you let the blacks in?
Go open the door for them.
Okay, but you're too damn lazy. Do you have an elevator in your building?
No.
So if you don't have an elevator in your building, how do the blacks get in?
I don't know.
They prop the fucking door open.
Huge problem. Okay.
They prop the door.
A huge problem in my building. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But didn't you tell me that a black was? Didn't you tell me
more in your building than my building?
Didn't you tell me you had a black Spider-Man at your building? I thought you had a black Spider-Man. What about Spider-Man?
What do you mean?
You told me about a black Spider-Man at your building.
Like who? I'm trying to think. Like who? What do you mean? When you say Spider-Man, what do you mean?
You don't remember telling me about that nigga that climbed the front of your building?
Mm-mm. You on the front of the building?
Didn't you climb the fire escape? Didn't you say y'all had you had a black climbing the fire escape of your building or something like that? You
No, I
remember?
don't remember that.
You remember telling me? At your condo building, that the blacks, somebody climbed the fire escape to get into an apartment. You don't remember telling me that? Spider-Man. I was
No,
calling niggas
but
Spider-Man.
it was probably it's probably a while ago. I'm just not remembering.
Yeah, you don't remember that.
Yeah.
You know I remember all the Negro stories. You know I remember all the Negro stories.
Yeah, you definitely log all that stuff when it happens.
Man, y'all sorry to hear about your car getting broken into, man. You know, there was a rash of car breaking in, so it wasn't just you over in Northeast. I'm not sure if you were aware of that.
Yeah.
And so one of the ladies, one of the black women
Mhm.
that was had her car broken into, she said, I'm not gonna be able to pay my rent next month. You know, they say next month because I gotta fix my car. Right. So the Negro shot the car window out. And instead of her paying her landlord and riding the bus, she chose to get her car fixed. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And so this is why I say to people who want to be landlords, particularly landlords to poor people, if they don't have the government paying the rent for them, you have to charge them almost on the dime when they get paid. So if they get paid, I ask them sometimes, like, how often do you get paid? Right?
Well, yeah, you know, they do that for a reason. They do that because they know, as stupid as they are, they still know they're cognitively aware enough that they know that you can't remove them from that house, not easily, even over a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know they have time to miss rent payment.
Right. And
you
this
know, before you can do anything to them. And that's why paying rent is their last priority.
Yeah.
Among everything else.
Yeah. We are their first lender. we're their first lender. Right. And so because many of these people couldn't go borrow
I would say that. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
many of these people couldn't go borrow $50 from their family. Correct?
No.
Right. And so my approach to prevent them from leaning on me as a creditor. Hey, Mr. John Galt, I ain't got my rent this month. It's gonna be 15 days. Nigga, who would loan you 15 days of money? $800, $900, $1,000. Who would loan you that kind of money for 15 days? Right.
Yeah.
But by the fact that they're in my house, they forced me to loan them money. You understand?
Yeah.
And so now I say, no, we're not going back to normal anymore. You're gonna have to pay when you get paid. So I want to know, I want to hear your excuse. Hey, my car got shot up. As soon as the car gets shot up, right? As opposed to 15 days later, she done got her car window fixed. She riding around living good. These people don't have the discipline to pay their rent every month. Is my thought. And if they don't have the discipline,
I was gonna say, but even in that scenario, like they don't have to pay you, right?
Right. They
Like,
don't have to pay you.
They can say, I'm gonna go get my car fixed and do all these other things and not pay you. And they know number one, even if they miss like a 1 month of rent, it's so much for you to go to court to get them kicked out that you probably wouldn't even do that after a month. They probably have to miss several months.
Yeah.
Before you try to go through that. And then once you go through that process, once you start that process, it's gonna take you 6 months to get them out. So they know they have so much flexibility in terms of not paying rent and seeing no consequences. I mean, they have at least 6 months to a year of flexibility of not paying you. You know what I mean? And they know that.
You know,
That's why
this thought just came to my mind. How many of these blacks would be on the street if
a lot
evictions were expedited?
Yeah, the evictions were expedited. A lot of them would be there.
I think
the people who run these cities know that. And that's why they develop a system that makes it so hard and it gives so much time for you to kick them out. Because they know they just have blacks living on the streets.
So you think it's
every major city.
So you think it's an indirect way of gumming up the works to basically to hide the black homeless issue by more or less putting the cost onto the landlord?
Yeah.
It's a Rube Goldberg-like contraption of forcing the landlord to pay for the blacks by tying them up in court and giving them lawyers. In many cases, they get the blacks lawyers, I would assume, right? I've never been down
They
there.
wouldn't want to, even if they could make it a fair process, you know, where you get representation as a tenant and all that. If they could, there's a way to do this. They could make it a fair process. If they had the option to keep it a fair process, an eviction could happen in, say, 2 months. Let's say 30 to 60 days, this eviction is going to happen. They would vote against that because that would be too soon. That's not giving the tenant enough time.
Yeah, he needs more time.
They would vote against that and instead vote for a process that takes 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
At the owner's expense.
Yeah.
And by them, I mean city council, the mayor, you know, all these damn tenants' rights advocates, all of them. You know, they'd rather that longer process because their only concern is the tenant.
Yeah.
And giving these sorry ass tenants as much time and as much free shit as possible at owners' expenses.
I know you're looking to rent your place. I'm going to give you some inside dope here. I got it on the screen right here. 40% of, I think DC is experiencing a severe restaurant closure. Part of the reason is that the DC council says our black waiters, the handful that they are, aren't getting paid enough. Right? You got these rich ass high-end restaurant whites working in white restaurant getting paid good. They ain't tripping about minimum wage because they getting big tips. If you work at Cafe Milano, you know these nice restaurants in DC. That restaurant we were gonna go to, that French one. What was the name of that one? Ooh, that was nice. Ooh. And so you know, you go there. You know, people that go in there, they're tipping. You understand?
Yeah.
But the people that go into the blacks that go to busboy and poets and oohs and ahs, and they ain't tipping, right? They ain't tipping, right?
Yeah.
The blacks, the handful of Applebee's and Chili's where the blacks work and where the blacks go, the blacks aren't tipping them. And so the blacks in the low-end restaurants said, we need to be paid a minimum wage because our customers are not tipping us. So the restaurants start to just close down now that they got to raise their wage to like $12, $15 an hour for a server when they normally were paying server.
Yeah.
So they're just closing down. So my advice to anyone listening, particularly you, since you are looking for 2 tenants now, do not rent to blacks in the food service business. I'm just telling you, because I have 3 blacks right now that are renting from me in food service, and the Mexicans are whipping their ass. They're whipping their ass very well, built their ass. And if you understand what happens in the food service industry, the first thing they do is start cutting your hours, which infringes on how you live. Hence, your landlord paying your rent. You understand? And so what I did, what I do rather is these restaurant blacks were on bi-weekly payment, and they've all had to drop down. They've all had to drop down to weekly payment, which is more. This is how I get their ass. Right? It's free right here. I'm giving it to you for free. So by the fact that
you can't do that with a. So you're talking about Airbnb?
No, hell no. It's direct rentals, bro. Like furnished. I do furnished rentals, right? Just like Airbnb, but they call me direct. You understand?
And how long do people normally? How long will they normally be there? A month or 2 weeks, 4 weeks?
See, the thing is, it's just like renting normally. But the only thing is that their payment have been compressed. You got to pay every week now, or every day.
But you're not doing leases with these people.
No.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the key, right? Because I don't know of a lease. And I could be wrong. I'm not an attorney, but I don't know of a legal lease that lets you do weekly. So you can't do a lease with these people, right?
Why would I answer this question? Why would I want to?
Yeah, I know. I get it. I understand why. Right. If the model is you want them to do, a week for the reasons you just explained, which are good reasons, to get payments more frequently, as opposed to giving them a whole month to pay.
Or would you lend money to some of these blacks? I mean, I asked you the question: would you lend money to some of these blacks? And the answer is no. Then they got to go short.
I wouldn't lend any money to any of them ever.
So
right.
So to prevent being in the position where they're going to lean on you at the end of the month or the first of the month to borrow money effectively by giving them a little grace, right? You price it in shorter increments, make them have to pay. You know what I mean? And they'll do it. Like that's what I found, bro. Like I throw away so much food that I realized like I'm not charging enough. I need to make these blacks go back in the kitchen. You understand? As long as these blacks can afford to eat out, I'm not charging them enough. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put these blacks back in making cornbread. I'm gonna make cornbread great again. I had these niggas in the kitchen cooking cornbread again. We got to raise my price right now. Raise my price.
Yeah.
But yo, Felipe, you back on the West Coast, huh?
Not yet, actually. My flight was delayed, so I'm still here.
Damn, you still in DC, bro?
My next flight is out tonight. Yeah.
Are you flying out of Reagan or what?
Dulles.
You don't fly out of Reagan?
Were delayed yesterday. A whole lot of flights were delayed yesterday because of storms.
So you don't fly out of Reagan anymore?
I try not to.
And why is that?
Because all the airline issues they were having.
Do you think DEI had something to do with it?
Possibly, especially that helicopter pilot that ran into that plane that we don't know a whole lot about, right?
Oh yeah, that kind of just fell off the map for sure. Man, let me
probably because.
Go ahead.
But hey, I got to jump because I got to.
Hey, so you still in town
for a minute?
Hey, you still in town, man? I showed your screws poking through the drywall there.
Oh, you did.
Hey, you want affordable housing? You're gonna have some screws sticking through the vanities there. Is that right? Hey, you would much rather hire a white man, I would imagine, right? But he's too expensive, huh? Yeah, Jesus.
Well, he's not too expensive. I'm just gonna have to pay that premium.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't want to pay the premium for the white man for affordable housing. Some niggas gonna tear it up. They're gonna tear it up as soon as you fix it, right? So you might as well get it cheap. Hey man, you have to keep us up to date on your tenant.
Oh, we'll do.
Yeah,
we'll do, and I'll give you a call back a little bit later.
All right, man. Hey, that was my buddy Felipe there. He's still looking for a tenant. His last tenant decided to vape as opposed to live in a house. So there's that. So I was telling him you can't rent to, a lot of the blacks in the restaurant industry are under a lot of pressure.
And many owners gave their input before these sweeping federal cuts. Now, take a look. The survey shows more than 40% of full-service casual restaurants will likely close by the end of the year. By the numbers, more than 51% of restaurants expect conditions to dwindle this year. That is a 21% increase from RAMW's survey last year. Now, 62% of restaurants surveyed reported lower profits in 2024. Now, on top of inflation and changes with the
look at that restaurant there, Tribe. What the fuck, Tribe restaurant, DC? You got a black waitress? What? Tribe restaurant. That motherfucker got a black waitress. They gotta be in some trouble. Tribe restaurant. Gluten-free. Gluten-free restaurant. Tribe restaurant here. There's some kind of liberal establishment. That's probably why they got a black waitress there. A place to meet your tribe and eat delicious, clean food that is Whole 30 paleo and gluten-free. Tribe. I saw a black waitress in there. Of course, Chef Jose Andres is gonna be. What? Damn. Tribe here. Do they post anything or they just repost shit? Oh, they went all into the coronavirus. Tribe restaurant here. Anyway, so that's Tribe restaurant. Seemingly they have a black waitress there in one of their restaurants. That's unusual in DC. Anyway.
Federal workforce, many restaurant owners believe increased labor costs from Initiative 82 and other wage increases have hurt the industry tremendously. In July, tipped worker wages in the city will go up from $10 to $12 an hour. A $2 increase each year will continue for the next several years. Sean Townsend tells me it's time to have an honest conversation with council members who do not see eye to eye with restaurant owners.
And you can see the waiters at this high-end restaurant here. You can see how they look here. Yeah.
Multiple arguments to whether or not Initiative 82 has an impact or not, right? It's fair argument. However, I think once the numbers start to speak for themselves, that's something that we just can't deny. And what our members are saying,
this is a Busmore Imports being shown here. This is not a high-end restaurant.
Is there's now data,
hence all the blacks,
that directly correlates the increase in labor costs to the bottom line.
Townsend tells me he is 100% on board, fully supports tipped workers having a fair and decent living wage, but he says that this law needs to be re-examined. The Restaurant Association is working with local leaders to try to figure out any policy changes that can benefit both sides here. Coming up later this hour, what one restaurant owner tells me he's now having to do to make ends meet. Reporting live in Georgetown, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
What you're likely to hear is that restaurants are probably picking their best workers, keeping their best workers, and letting the slackers go. And so again, this is one of the reasons why I say if you're going to be renting, you have to be very wary of people in the restaurant industry that likely could get laid off or get their hours cut there. And here's another article. I want to see if this is fish fry in DC.
More than 40% of casual dining restaurants in the city might have to shut down unless some assistance comes their way.
Once the numbers start to speak for themselves, that's something that we just can't deny. And what our members are saying is there's now data that directly correlates the increase in labor costs to the bottom line.
Our supply chain has to be on point with no missteps. Ordering, our inventorying process, the things that we need to do to make sure that the cost side of our business isn't impacted further through.
And there he is. He's talking about the cost side of the business there. And the cost side of the business is clearly the biggest cost is labor and food.
Other areas.
And so that is kind of my theory there. If you're a landlord in these inner cities, not just DC, but anywhere, renting to the black tenants in the restaurant industry may be kind of filled with problems there. You're going to have a hard time collecting your money if my tenants are any measure of what's going on in the marketplace there. Once again, man, thank you for joining us at an early morning stream. Hour and a half here. John Call. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you subscribe to the Urban Landlord Clips, by the way. That's where you catch us. We have a lot of uploads over there. Some of them you might find interesting. I'll share some of those with you now. Let's see. What do we have? The Urban Landlord. We have a lot of videos over there. Not a lot of lives, but we do have a lot of videos there. So I'll share some of the videos there that we have here. We talked about the Cincinnati Festival, Procter & Gamble was a sponsor of the Cincinnati Music Festival this year. Will they sponsor the next one is a question I have. Here in DC, there's large parts of the city that's federal property, and the blacks that hang out on the federal property here, there are different rules to be played, and Trump is enforcing those rules in terms of making DC great again. And he caught some blacks smoking on federal property and enforced the law, and the blacks are up in arms about that here. And so anyway, some interesting videos here we think you might enjoy. Once again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Let's see, Broke Genius. Ryan. Yeah, when I was younger, I'd fix up me and get it at least. There you go. That's the way to go. Once again, man, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'll see you on Stanley Stream. This nigga has a motherfucker, by the way. Let me go fast forward. I am the nigga, Young Dog. This high ass nigga.
They don't dance no more. It's all about the lean. Back in the day, crack was jumping on the scene. Now they slumped on the sidewalk. Can't talk. Golden era faded, but we still feel the rock. They used to be kings, now they lost in the scheme. Popping them bottles, throwing money, living dreams. Now they zoned out and mumbling, fumbling. No rhythm in the city, the whole shit crumbling. They used to rock the house, they was riding through the streets. Remember there was dancing, sliding to the beat. Now it's poison in their veins, ain't no pulse on the street. Guess it's over now, they accepted it. Back in the day, the rock had them wild and free. Different story now, they got no energy. The new drugs got them slow with the hit unload. Eyes closed and they don't dance no more. Block used to be jumping, type shit they was on. Now it's lights out, guess the thrill is gone.
I am the nigga, Young Dog. I bring it to you rough, rugged, and raw, nigga.
They don't dance no more, it's all about the codeine. Back in the day, they was rocking on the scene. Even dancing in the rain, now they nodding off. Shit just don't hit the same.
I am that nigga, Young Dog.